Billionaire discovered waiter speaking German left life-changing note and 1,000 ticket. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden glow through the window of Mel's diner, Ben poured coffee with an easy smile plastered on his face. He was a 30-something waiter juggling steaming plates and heartfelt conversations, all while carrying an invisible weight of medical bills for his mother and expectations from his younger sister. The air buzzed with laughter and the tempting scent of freshly baked pies, but in his heart, Ben yearned for something more, a life beyond the diner's tiled floors, a chance to share his love for languages, especially German. That evening, the diner was especially lively. Regulars filled every booth, exchanging stories and jokes that danced through the air. Ben served a family speaking German, his heart racing with excitement. Their words flowed effortlessly from his lips as he slid their order onto the table, his enthusiasm infectious. Unbeknownst to him, his voice caught the attention of a man sitting alone in the corner, Frank, the notorious billionaire, who was known more for his stern demeanor than any display of warmth. The table shook with laughter, and the sight of Ben animatedly conversing in a language he cherished struck a chord in Frank's heart. For years, he had been locked away in a world of business deals and boardroom meetings, missing the simple joys of human connection. As he observed Ben, the reclusive tycoon felt something stir inside him, a longing for the passion he had buried under stress and obligation. Before Ben could refocus on the orders piling up, Frank, compelled by the glow of Ben's spirit, scribbled on a napkin a note wrapped in potential. He tucked away a crisp 1,000 ticket to a prestigious language conference along with it, hoping to fan the flames of hope in a life dulled by struggles. With shaking hands, Ben picked up the napkin just as the diner began to quiet down. His eyes widened, disbelief washing over his face as shock and possibility collided. As he read the bold letters, excitement gushed through him. But just then, his sister, Sarah, stormed through the doors, her face twisted in frustration. "Why are you always here, Ben?" she blurted, tears brimming in her eyes. "It's like you've forgotten us. You think chasing dreams makes you a hero, but you're just leaving us behind." His heart twisted painfully, the note crumpling in his hand. The weight of his responsibilities crashed down like a wave, and he felt himself suffocating under expectations. Could he take that ticket and chase his dreams while staying the pillar for his family? The bittersweet taste of ambition turned sour in his mouth as he remained torn, hesitating in the fragile balance between loyalty and aspirations. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Ben stood there, an internal storm raged within him. Around him, the smiles of the diner patrons, the familiar faces cheering him on, began to ignite sparks of courage in his chest. They saw something special in him, and in that moment, Ben wondered if splitting his time could be possible. Could he nurture his dreams while weaving them into the fabric of his family's needs? He took a deep breath, looking back at the note filled with promise. But even as he grasped it tighter, he felt that old, familiar fear creeping in. Would he ever have the courage to break free from the expectations tying him down? Desperation and hope collided as he stood on the thin line between two worlds, the decision looming larger than life. Would he surrender to the wishes of others, or let his aspirations take flight? Ben's heart raced as Sarah's words echoed in his mind. The hustle and bustle of the diner felt distant, the clinking of silverware muted beneath the weight of his sister's accusations. He struggled to meet her gaze, the disappointment in her eyes piercing through him like a sharp knife. She had every right to feel abandoned, but he wished she could see how much he craved to lift their burdens, not add to them. "Sarah, I'm trying to do something for us," Ben stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. He wanted to explain, to show her the napkin, the ticket, the opportunity to bring something better into their lives. But words eluded him as he felt the familiar knot of anxiety tighten in his chest. "You'd rather chase fantasies than be here," she shot back, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. What about Mom? What about us? With every accusation, Ben felt his resolve waver. Why couldn't she understand that his dreams weren't just about him? The language conference was more than an escape. It was a chance to change their lives, to open doors that had always felt closed. Yet here he stood, torn between loyalty and the yearning for more. Feeling the weight of the crumpled napkin in his palm, he glanced around the diner. The laughter of old friends, the warmth of those who knew him best, reminded him why he worked so hard. But in that moment, the dreams he had kept locked away now screamed to be heard. They rang out like chimes in a gentle breeze, urging him to take the leap. Look, I know it's hard, Ben said, his voice steadier now. But it's not just about me. If I can make this happen, it could change everything for us, Sarah. Her frown deepened, and he could see the disbelief creeping in. You think a ticket will fix everything? She scoffed, arms crossed defiantly. Not just any ticket, he shot back, suddenly fueled by a surge of determination. It's a chance to learn, to bring new opportunities, and maybe make some money. I could teach. But Sarah cut him off, her voice rising. And what happens when that doesn't work out? Mom needs you now, Ben. You can't keep running from reality. Reality. The word rolled off her tongue like a heavy weight settling in the pit of his stomach. Had he been running? He paused, the conflict churning within him. Could he really balance his family's needs and his aspirations? Fear bubbled up, but nestled inside was a flicker of hope. Please, just hear me out. Ben took a step closer, his heart pounding, desperate to connect. I know things are tough, but if I don't try, I might regret it forever. For a heartbeat, silence enveloped them. The diner around them dulled, making Sarah's angry glare shine brighter. Then, behind her, a familiar face from the diner, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a warm smile, stepped closer. Ben, I believe in you. Follow your heart, we're all rooting for you. Ben's heart swelled. Maybe it was possible to find a way to do both. He turned to Sarah, who was watching him with a mix of frustration and uncertainty. What if I find a way to share some of my time? To be here for you and Mom, while still pursuing this? But before Sarah could respond, an unexpected voice cut through the tension, drawing their attention back to Frank, who had approached quietly. Your passion is infectious, young man, he said, his tone unexpectedly warm. I can lend a hand if you really want to chase this dream. Ben's breath caught in his throat. Was this the moment he had been waiting for? And what did that even mean for him, for Sarah, for their future? In that fleeting moment, everything hung in the balance, and the stakes felt higher than ever. Would he step off the edge and dive into the unknown? Or would he retreat back to what was comfortable, leaving yet another dream unfulfilled? The path ahead could either build a bridge or lead him to a precipice, and every heartbeat reminded him of the choice that lay just ahead. Ben felt a surge of hope wash over him, but the weight of uncertainty still clung tightly like a fog that wouldn't lift. He glanced at Sarah, whose expression blended disbelief with a flicker of something else. Could it be admiration? Her eyes softened just a little, but they were still heavy with worry. Look, Ben started, but the words seemed to slip through his fingers. What do you mean you can help? I have connections, Frank replied, his smile widening. You've got the passion. I see that. But passion alone isn't enough. You need guidance. A mentor. Ben felt his heart rate spike again. A mentor? That's what he needed to navigate the uncertain waters of his aspirations. He took a breath, trying to calm the whirlwind in his chest. And you could be that mentor? Absolutely. We can work together to carve out a plan, Frank said, his voice steady. With your language skills and my contacts, we can make something happen. But you have to meet me halfway. Ben swallowed hard. What did that even mean? He looked back at Sarah, biting his lip. Would she see this as a lifeline or another risky leap into a chasm of failure? What do you think, Sarah? He asked, turning back to her. Should I? I mean, it could really change things for us. You need to think about what you're risking, Ben, she replied, her voice softer now, but still firm. It sounds too good to be true. You could end up just like Dad chasing dreams and leaving us behind. The mention of their father sent a jolt through him. Dad had been lost in his own world, blinded by aspirations that never panned out. Ben didn't want to repeat that cycle. But he also didn't want to drown in this stagnant life, where every day felt like a battle just to keep afloat. I understand your fear, Ben said, challenging himself to remain steady in the face of her worry. But what if this is the chance we need? What if together we create something better than we could imagine? For once, Frank spoke up again, his voice firm. You can succeed, Ben. But it's going to take hard work, a commitment to your craft, and making sacrifices. Think of it as an investment in both your future and your family's. As Ben looked back at his sister, he sensed a rift beginning to close, but the lingering tension still filled the air. Sarah, what if I promise to stay involved? What if I have Frank guide me while I still can meet you and Mom's needs? Her brow furrowed, the hesitance palpable. Just think this through first, she finally said, crossing her arms, as if she were trying to physically hold herself together. Before Ben could respond, Frank glanced at his watch. I've got to run, but I'll leave my number. Call me tonight, Ben. Make a decision. But remember, time won't wait for you. As Frank walked away, Ben felt a rush of determination push him. This was the moment he needed to seize. Yet Sarah's worried gaze followed him, and he knew he had more to lose than just pride. What if it doesn't work out? Sarah's voice broke through again, cracking just enough to show the vulnerability she held inside. What if Sarah? Ben interrupted, concern flooding his heart again. What if it does? Her eyes flickered, the gears in her mind turning. I just want you to be careful, Ben. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her concern. More than anything, he wanted to reassure her. I promise, I will not forget my family in this. I won't let you or Mom down. She nodded slowly, but Ben could still see the doubt in her eyes. Ben glanced down at the crumpled napkin in his hand, not ready to let it go just yet. It symbolized so much, a ticket to a future uncharted. But as he folded it carefully and tucked it away, he felt the visceral pang of uncertainty lingering still. Would he take the leap into the unknown, risking both his dream and the fragile bond with his sister? In that moment, one thing became clear. The stakes were higher than ever, and the choices he made would reverberate through their lives. What would he decide tonight? Would his dreams lead him toward the light or darkness? Ben sat in silence for a moment, letting the noise of the cafe swirl around him. The sounds of clattering cups and low murmurings felt distant, almost like a separate world, a world he was contemplating leaving behind. He clenched the now folded napkin, his fingers tracing over the surface where Frank's number was scrawled. What did it mean to chase a dream? And at what cost? He turned back to Sarah. I'll do my best to balance everything to be there for you and Mom. I just can't ignore this opportunity. His voice was steady, but inside he was a storm of emotions, torn between the safety of the familiar and the lure of something greater. Ben, it's not just about you, she said, her exasperation bubbling up but tinged with worry. What if this changes everything? What if it takes you away from us? The memory of their dad tugged hard at Ben's heartstrings. He remembered the late nights filled with hope and excitement, only to fade into regret and abandonment. But this felt different. Frank had experience, and he believed in Ben's potential. Could he really make something of himself while still being a support for his family? I'd be doing it for us, Sarah. If I can make this work, it'll open doors. Maybe it can help us break out of this rut, he pleaded, seeking to bridge the growing divide. And what if it doesn't? We can't afford more disappointment. Her voice trembled slightly, a crack that revealed how deeply she felt the weight of their shared past. Ben felt a surge of determination, an echo of hope that drove his next words. What if I succeed? What if I don't just change my life, but ours? We could have a better future. Her face softened momentarily, caught in the thrall of his enthusiasm, but doubt quickly returned. You really think it's that simple? Dreams don't come without sacrifices, Ben. I want you to stay safe. I don't want to lose you to this. I'm right here, Sarah, he said, reaching across the small table, grasping her hand gently. I want to disappear into a different life. This is my chance, yes, but it's also ours. I need your support more than anything. I need to know you believe in me. For a moment, they locked eyes, and Ben could see the flicker of fear colliding with a glimmer of hope in her gaze. It was a push-pull of emotions that felt almost tangible. Sarah squeezed his hand back, a silent agreement forming between them amidst uncertainty. Okay, she finally said, her voice shaky but resolute. If you choose this, you have to promise to check in, like, really check in. Don't let your ambition overshadow our family. Deal? Deal, Ben replied, a rush of relief flooding through him. He had made her promise. Now it felt as though the heavy fog was beginning to clear, if only by a small crack. As he glanced outside, the setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, and for the first time in a long while, he felt lightness creeping back into his heart. That night, he would call Frank. The possibilities felt like an exhilarating ride, and the stakes felt just as real. But as Ben left the cafe, determination in his step, he couldn't shake the seed of doubt that lingered. Had he prepared enough? Would he truly be able to manage everything he was about to take on? He'd have to face the unknown and all its unpredictability. And just before he got to the car, his phone buzzed. It was a message from Frank. Hope you've made your decision. Remember, it's never too late to chase what you love. A shiver ran down Ben's spine. What path would he embrace? The sound of familiar sirens echoed in the distance, reminding him that life continued even in chaos. Tonight was the night everything would change. But was he ready? Would he dive headfirst into the unknown, or would he play it safe? The choice loomed over him like a shadow waiting to consume him, and he took a deep breath, preparing for what lay ahead. What awaited him at the other end of Frank's guidance? Ben's heart raced as he slipped into the driver's seat. The engine roared to life, but his mind remained a whirlwind. He could hear Sarah's voice echoing in his ears, the weight of her concern reminding him of what was at stake. As he pulled out of the parking lot, he gripped the steering wheel tightly, feeling the tension in each muscle. Frank was not just some figure in the background. He was a figure of hope, a chance at something more than waiting tables and making ends meet. Ben's phone lit up again. Another message from Frank. Let us talk. I have some ideas I want to share. A knot formed in his stomach. What kind of ideas? He drove home slowly, contemplating. Would this be the moment that changed everything? He recalled how, as a child, he used to dream of being on stage, sharing stories with the world. It was a dream that had gradually dimmed, buried under layers of reality. Now, here it was, rekindled by Frank's belief in him. As he entered his neighborhood, colorful autumn leaves swirled around like memories from his past. He parked and took a moment to breathe. Just before stepping out, he sent Sarah a quick text. On my way home. Got some things to share with you. The three dots indicating she was typing back ignited his anticipation mixed with nerves. Inside, the house was quiet. The faint smell of dinner lingered in the air, and Ben's heart squeezed with yearning. What he wanted, that glittering life, felt miles away, but it could also be closer than ever. He wandered into the living room and plopped down on the couch, feeling the softness envelop him. Sarah arrived a few moments later, her eyes brightening when she saw him, but clouding with questions once again. So, what's going on? She asked, her voice tinged with hope and trepidation. I've made my decision, he started, his voice steady but the uncertainty evident in his gaze. I'm going to try and see where this leads with Frank. I can't ignore it. I just can't, he confessed, his heart pounding in rhythm with his rising excitement. Wow, that's huge, Ben, she said softly, her expression a complex mix of pride and concern. But, do you really think this is the right choice? I believe so, he answered earnestly. I think it's my chance to finally do something great, not just for me, but for us. We can break this cycle. He felt the words flow out like a rush of water, steady and unrestrained. Okay, she said, her brows knitting together as she processed his declaration. Just remember you promised to keep in touch, to not let ambition take over. I know. He interrupted, feeling urgency swell in his chest. It 1T. I'm still here, Sarah. I'm not going anywhere. I need you with me. I need your belief. I want to believe in you. I do, she replied, her voice softening. Just be careful. It's a risk, and I don't want to see you hurt again. Ben nodded, understanding the gravity of those words. Deep down, he questioned if he had enough foresight and strength to manage both his dreams and the family pressures. But this was the moment of truth that he had been waiting for, a chance to rewrite their story. As they shared dinner, snippets of conversation filled the gaps in their worries, though the tension hung like a low fog. The evening flowed surprisingly smooth until Ben's phone buzzed again. Frank's face appeared on the screen with an urgency that pulled him in. Meet me tomorrow at noon. I'll explain everything. Bring your ideas. Ben's stomach twisted at the prospect. What ideas? He murmured under his breath, scrolling back through the contact list and staring at Frank's number. Every tick of uncertainty threatened to drown him. Sarah noticed, her eyes narrowing slightly. What is it? He took a deep breath. I guess we'll find out soon. The night stretched on, filled with excitement and foreboding. The shadow of tomorrow loomed large, each passing second heavy with promise. Would this be his moment to embrace his dreams, or would he find himself lost once again? And as he lay in bed that night, sleep evading him, he wondered, what if the moment he had longed for wasn't what he expected? The morning light streamed through the curtains, warm and bright, but Ben felt the chill of uncertainty wash over him. He tossed in bed as thoughts swirled like a storm. What ideas did Frank have? What did that message mean for his future? With each tick of the clock, his heart raced, knowing the pivotal moment was just hours away. When he finally crawled out of bed, the aroma of strong coffee pulled him to the kitchen. Sarah was already there, stirring a pot of oatmeal. She glanced up and offered a faint smile, but Ben could see the worry etched on her face. "Sleep okay?" she asked, her voice light, but her eyes were searching. "Not really," he admitted, pouring himself a cup of coffee. "A lot on my mind. You know, the meeting with Frank, I feel like it's a turning point. I know you're excited, and I am too," she said, turning back to the stove. The clatter of the spoon against the pot filled the silence. "But what if it's too risky? What if it doesn't go as planned?" Ben leaned against the counter, contemplating her words as he stirred his coffee. "What if it does? What if this is what I've been waiting for? What if for once, I take a leap and it pays off?" "Sometimes the leap can be too far," she murmured, putting the spoon down. "I just want to make sure you don't end up shattered again. You deserve more than that." "Yeah, but I can't keep sitting on the sidelines. I need to try." He took a long sip of coffee and let the bitter warmth settle in him. What's the alternative? Staying stuck in this routine? She didn't respond, just looked at him with a mixture of pride and concern. They both knew it was more than just a job. It was about finding Ben's true self, about challenging the limitations they'd placed upon themselves. After breakfast, Ben found himself pacing the room, energy thrumming in his veins like he was about to run a marathon. Every fiber of his being wanted to jump into the unknown. He made a last-minute decision. What if he came prepared? He grabbed his notepad and jotted down ideas that had sparkled in his mind, half-formed concepts that begged for clarity and strength. The clock ticked ominously as noon approached, and with every passing second, Ben could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. He glanced at Sarah, who stood by the window, her eyes drifting between the street outside and his face. "Just promise me, if it gets overwhelming, you'll come back to me. You know I'm here." Her voice cut through the haze of his thoughts, grounding him, reminding him of the importance of their connection. "I will. I need you, Sarah." "You're my anchor," he replied, his eyes meeting hers with honesty that he left the house, each step taking him closer to what could be a new beginning or a devastating end. As he approached the designated meeting spot, nerves twisted in his stomach, but excitement tinged those knots. What if he really was meant for more? He arrived at a small cafe where the ambience was energized, patrons buzzing with conversation. Frank was already seated at a corner table, his expression serious yet expectant. "Ben, over here," he called, waving him in. As he approached, something in Frank's demeanor hinted at the gravity of the meeting. This was not merely a chat over coffee. Something significant was at play, and Ben felt a deep surge of anticipation. Just as he sat, Frank leaned in, a spark of intensity in his eyes. "I've been waiting for you. We have a lot to talk about, and you need to hear this." Ben's heart pounded. It was time to find out if this could indeed be the turning point he had always imagined, or if he was about to walk into another dead end. "What do you have for me?" he asked, breathless with hope. And at that very moment, a couple at the next table turned their heads, catching just a snippet of their conversation. Expression intrigue poised on their lips. The air felt thick with promise. Would he step into a world of possibilities, or would uncertainty choke his dreams once again? And as Frank opened his mouth to speak, Ben could almost believe this was the beginning of everything. The weight of that moment hung in the air like the dawning of a new day, but would it light up his life, or would it dim before it even began? Frank's voice lowered, cutting through the cafe's chatter. "So, Ben, I've been doing some research on you. Your ideas, your creativity, it's impressive." His eyes gleamed with enthusiasm. "This isn't just about a simple partnership. This could lead to something transformational." Ben leaned forward, feeling an exhilarating rush. "You really think so? I mean, I've been stuck in this rut for too long. I need a shot at something real." Frank nodded. affirming his hopes. You can bring an edge to this project, a fresh perspective. But we need to move fast. There's a lot at stake. Are you in? A million thoughts raced through Ben's mind. The opportunity was unimaginable beyond his wildest dreams. But then came the creeping doubt. What are the specific risks? I need to know what I'm committing to. Frank struck his palms on the table, a gesture that demanded attention. It's ambitious. We'll be launching something that could revolutionize an entire industry. But that means competition will be fierce. There's a chance it could fail. Ben's pulse quickened. The weight of the decision bore down on him. And if it fails? Frank leaned back, his chair creaking slightly. Then we regroup, reassess, and try again. That's the nature of innovation. But if you don't take this leap, you'll never know. Sarah's worried words echoed in his head, but a flicker of courage rose within him. This wasn't just about success or failure. It was about reclaiming his life, stepping out of the shadow. I've been stuck for too long. I want to create. I want to take the leap, Ben replied, resolve hardening his voice. The corner of Frank's mouth curled into a smile, but before he could respond, a loud crash broke the moment. A server at the next table had dropped a tray full of glasses, the sound exploding like a thunderclap in the cafe. Instinctively, they all turned to look as the chaos unraveled. Ben felt a strange sensation wash over him. The instinct to flee mingled with the urge to stay, to face whatever came next. He turned back to Frank, who was now focused intently on him, undeterred by the commotion. Ben, listen closely, he said, his tone urgent. You need to trust your gut. If you want this, we've got to go all in now. There could be a lot of money at stake, but more importantly, your future. Ben took a deep breath as he considered the weight of those words. A life-changing opportunity lay just within reach, and yet the thought terrified him. What if he wasn't ready? What if he disappoints everyone again? And yet, somewhere inside, a quiet voice urged him to step forward. Okay, let us do it. I'm on board, he said, each word slower than the last, pulling out the confidence he known he possessed. Great. I'll send over the terms, and we can meet again to finalize everything. Frank's enthusiasm felt contagious, lifting the air around them. Ben's heart was racing not just from fear, but from exhilaration. They were on the brink of something immense. As they made plans for the next meeting, the atmosphere buzzed with newfound energy. Ben was ready to embrace the challenge, despite the uncertainty. When Ben finally walked out of the cafe, the sunlight flooded over him, illuminating the path ahead. He glanced back, half expecting to see Sarah standing there. But she wasn't. He reached for his phone to text her, his fingers hovering over the screen. What would he say? That he was diving into the deep end without a life preserver? And then it struck him, would she see this decision as a chance to grow, or as yet another risk that might break them? The thought formed a knot in his stomach. Just before he hit send, another text popped up. It was from Sarah, filled with concern. How did it go? Are you okay? Ben hesitated, contemplating his reply. Should he share every detail, or keep some of the weight to himself? Would the truth bind them closer or pull them apart? As he stood there, torn between hope and fear, the seconds ticked away, leaving him with a looming question. How would he navigate this new path while preserving their bond? He took a deep breath, needing clarity. But with every choice came consequences, and as he felt the gravity of the moment settle over him, he realized this was just the beginning. What awaited him at home? Would Sarah understand? Standing on the precipice of a moment that could redefine everything, he thought. What if the path to his dreams meant risking what he held dearest? Ben's heart raced as he felt the warmth of the sun on his face. He walked through the bustling streets, each step echoing in his mind like a drum roll. The excitement was palpable, a mixture of fear and hope swirling within him. What had he done? He had agreed to jump into an unknown world with Frank, a man he barely knew. Driven by an idea that felt like a spark in the dark, his phone pinged again, jolting him from his thoughts. It was another text from Sarah, more urgent this time. Ben, please text me back. I'm really worried. He sighed, the weight of her concern tugging at him. He was about to type a response when he noticed a couple arguing on the sidewalk ahead. Their sharp voices cut through the lively street. It struck him that these moments were everywhere, people caught in their own storms. But here he was, inches away from a potentially life-altering opportunity. It felt somehow grand and absurd at the same time, As Ben stepped into the small apartment he shared with Sarah, the familiar clutter wrapped around him like a cozy blanket. Old magazines piled high, and the remnants of yesterday's takeout lingered on the counter. This space was their sanctuary, but he couldn't shake the feeling it was also a cage, especially now that he dropped his bag, glancing around to find Sarah sitting on the couch, a frown etched deep into her forehead. Her normally bright hazel eyes were clouded with worry. "Hey," she said softly, the concern clear in her voice. "You didn't answer my texts. I thought something might have happened. I'm sorry. I didn't want to worry you." He ran a hand through his hair, feeling the weight of his decision slosh around in his gut. He needed to tell her, but how? What happened? She folded her arms, eyes locked onto his, searching for answers. "We were talking about the project," and the words formed in his mind but fell apart in his mouth. It was as if he feared the truth might shatter whatever safety they had built. "And?" Sarah prompted, leaning forward. "You're scaring me. I agreed to partner with Frank. We're going to create something big, something that could change everything." The moment Ben finished, his heart sank. He could see the storm brewing in her eyes. "Wait, what? You're just jumping into this? What if it all goes wrong? What if it takes you away from here?" Her voice cracked, the worry spilling over into anger. "It's not just a whim, Sarah. This is my chance. I've felt stagnant for too long, like I'm fading away. I need this." He stepped closer, desperation seeping into his words. "And I thought you'd understand." "Understand? I get that you're scared, but this isn't just about you. It's about us. What happens to us if you chase this dream and it fails?" Her voice trembled, echoing the fears Ben had pushed aside. The weight of her words struck him. He had been so consumed by excitement that he hadn't fully considered how it would impact their lives together. The thought made waves of doubt crash within him. What if this is the path to everything we've wanted? The better life, more opportunities, he stammered, trying to hold on to hope while fighting back doubt. "You know I want you to succeed, but I can't just stand by and watch you risk everything. It feels reckless." She was right. The dream shimmered in front of him like a mirage. How could he chase the life he wanted without jeopardizing their stability? "Sarah, I need your support, not your fears." His voice softened, slipping into vulnerability. "I'm asking you to trust me." For a long moment, they simply stared at each other, emotions swirling in the space between them. With every beat, the tension rose and fell, a struggle between love, hope, and uncertainty. As they faced each other, Ben could almost see the invisible threads that tied their hearts together unravel, fraying at the edges. "Maybe I just need time to process," Sarah finally said, the fight leaving her voice, replaced with an ache that resonated deeply in his chest. "Okay," Ben whispered, feeling the loss of connection like a cold shiver through his veins. He turned away, needing space to breathe, needing to think straight. But as he stepped back into the living room, the thought gripped him: what if the very pursuit of his dreams was the thing that cost him the most important relationships in his life? What came next would shape their story. Could they bridge the gap between dreams and reality before it was too late? Ben leaned against the kitchen counter, his pulse still racing from the earlier confrontation. The hum of the fridge was the only sound in the otherwise still room. As he made himself a cup of coffee, those words echoed in his mind. Could chasing his dreams truly cost him Sarah? He had always believed that love could conquer anything, that they could face the world hand in hand. But now, doubt burrowed deep within him. Sitting alone, staring into the swirling coffee, he wondered if maybe he wasn't just choosing for himself. His phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from Frank. "Meeting tomorrow at noon. Big news. Bring your ideas." The message felt like a lifeline, pulling him away from his own turmoil. He knew he should feel excited, but the thought of Sarah's angry face, her hurt expression, kept creeping back in. After finishing his coffee, Ben decided to take a walk, hoping the fresh air might clear his mind. The streets were alive with the scent of spring, flowers blooming, children playing in the park. It was supposed to be invigorating, but all he felt was an empty ache. Other couples passed by, laughing together, wrapped in their own worlds of joy. It heightened his sense of isolation. As he roamed further, he spotted a small bookshop nestled between two larger stores. He often found solace among the pages of books, their worlds pulling him in when he needed an escape. Maybe now was a good time for a little distraction. He stepped inside and inhaled the familiar, earthy scent of old paper and ink. His gaze wandered over the shelves until a bright cover caught his attention. It was a journal, the type designed for dreamers, filled with prompts and blank pages. Something about it called to him, like a whisper urging him to pause and reflect on his own dreams. He grabbed the journal, feeling the weight of its potential in his hands. In a cozy nook of the store, he began to write. He poured out his feelings, his fears about leaving Sarah behind, his hopes for the future, and the uncertainty that wrapped around his heart like a vine. It was therapeutic, the ink flowing freely, and for the first time, he felt the weight lift ever so slightly. But as he wrote, a voice emerged from the back of his mind. What if he lost Sarah in the pursuit of this dream? What if she was right? The risks were real, and the stakes were high. He suddenly felt a wave of clarity. Ben recalled the last time they sat together, laughing over silly memories, planning their next adventure. What if he framed this next step not only for himself, but for the two of them? What if his success could pave the way for their dreams together instead of tearing them apart? With newfound determination, he closed the journal and slid it under his arm. He had to find a way to show Sarah that this dream could include her. Maybe they could inspire each other. As he stepped outside, the sun broke through the clouds. It felt like a sign. His phone buzzed again, but this time, instead of anxiety, he felt hope. Maybe I can make her part of this journey, he murmured to himself. Taking a deep breath, he turned on his phone, ready to text Sarah. But before he could, a news alert flashed across his screen. The headline read, "Billionaire discovered waiter speaking German left life-changing note and 1,000 ticket." Ben's heart skipped a beat. Was this a twist of fate? What if it was more than coincidence? The desire to learn more gripped him as he envisioned a chance that could bridge his dreams with Sarah's support. Could the stories of others shift the course of his own future? Ben stood at a pivotal crossroads, the news headline like a lighthouse guiding his way. It felt surreal to see his story, a simple waiter, a dreamer highlighted for the world. The shining promise of the 1,000 ticket shimmered in front of him, but it wasn't just about a chance at a conference. It portrayed his yearning to transform not only his life, but also the lives of his loved ones. With renewed energy coursing through him, he made his way back home, heart racing with possibilities. He no longer wanted the dream to feel like a weighty secret carried alone. No, it had to be shared. And sharing meant showing Sarah there was a way to balance family and ambition. "Sarah," he called as he entered their apartment. She emerged from her room, eyes wide with surprise. "Ben, is everything okay?" He took her hands, tangible warmth grounding him. "I have something to share. It could change everything." "What is it?" she asked, eyebrows knitted together, half curious and half wary. "I saw the news about the ticket and my story." He paused, gauging her reaction. "But it isn't just about me, Sarah. This is joy, excitement. It's the ticket to chase my dreams." "Yes, but I want you with me." Then her expression deepened with worry. "What does that even mean? Are you going to drop everything and chase some fantasy?" "No. It means that if I take this leap, I can build something bigger. And you can be a part of that." He searched her eyes for understanding. "Helping me chase this dream means growing together instead of choosing between us and ambition. I believe if we can open those doors, it will bring more stability than we've ever known." But she started, her voice faltering. "Listen," he urged, his tone gentle but filled with passion. "This could be a step toward a better future for both of us. I want to go to this conference, learn, grow, and bring opportunities back to our home. I need your support, but more than anything, I want us to step into this together." For a moment, silence wrapped around them, tension hanging like an invisible thread. Ben felt the weight of her thoughts and fears holding them back. "Can we really merge your dreams and our reality, Ben?" she asked, searching his gaze with shaky hope. "We can, Sarah. If we invest in our dreams, this is our shot at breaking free from the cycle that binds us. I don't want to chase this alone anymore. I need you, every step of the way." Tears glimmered in her eyes, each drop a mix of fear, admiration, and a burgeoning hope. "You truly believe this will work?" "I believe in us," he said firmly. "And I know we can carve a path that intertwines our lives and dreams together. Let us lean on each other, instead of against each other." Sarah inhaled deeply, the hesitation in her posture slowly melting away. "Okay, let us take this leap together." A radiant smile broke on Ben's face. Hope blossomed between them like spring flowers breaking through the thaw of winter. As they sat together, sharing plans and dreams, the tension eased, and laughter burst from their lips like the first notes of music after a long silence. The air in the apartment transformed into a canvas of encouragement, vulnerability, and loved in the days that followed. Ben prepared for that language conference, his heart pounding with exhilaration. It wasn't just about learning German. It was about healing relationships, forging paths, and solidifying their bond. He found his passion igniting the flame in Sarah's eyes as they researched, brainstormed, and developed a plan to intertwine their futures. They attended the conference together, laughing, learning, and connecting with people who inspired them. The pivotal shift in their dynamic breathed fresh air into their relationship. Ben no longer felt the weight of isolation. Instead, he felt buoyed by the shared experience of pursuing dreams hand in hand. Weeks turned into months, and little by little, they found new opportunities blossoming around them. Ben's language skills opened doors, and Sarah's support filled the gaps. They faced challenges together, leaning into the unpredictability of life with newfound resilience. Frank continued to mentor Ben, guiding him as they laid the groundwork to launch their own language-based business side by side. It wasn't immediate success, but each baby step created ripples of hope and connection. And more importantly, they became each other's greatest champions, learning to trust the delicate dance between dreams and responsibilities. As they reflected on how far they had come, one thing was clear. They had rewritten their story together, emerging stronger than they could have ever imagined. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.